cool building together.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's weird I can't see you, but I'll talk right into the phone there. So to start things off, as you walk into the John Jaqua Center, now all the stuff I'm going to tell you is pre-COVID and post-COVID. Nothing's really ordinary right now down here, just like all of you folks are dealing with the same stuff. But let me start off by the first floor is completely open to the public. We cut it off on the second and third floor. That's when it becomes just athletes and workers. This right over here is our, well, it's our cafe, which is not open right now, but it will be eventually. So we'll get a lot of people to come in to have coffee and treats and stuff like that. Right here, this is actually a fireplace. And there's usually, pre-COVID, chairs around here. So we'll have the fire on, people can relax around the chairs. So this place is going to look a little different than normal. There's a lot of places that don't have chairs when they usually do and things like that.
I like this name.
Yeah,
Robin's
Nest. So that's John Jaqua's mother is Robin. So that's where that is.
So this is the cafe. I have to show you just the side over here because this is pretty cool. We might have to end going outside because the outside, do you see? I don't know if you can see that very well, but that's a cool fountain out there too. Okay, sorry, Mr. Tony. Distracted by the pool.
And as you walk into the Jaqua Center, the first thing that you see, pretty much the first thing, is John Jaqua's story. Now, we're not going to read the whole thing. It's pretty extensive. But if you do come down here, give it a read. It's very interesting. Just in a nutshell, he was a pilot, a fighter pilot in the war, an attorney, and things like that. So very established person. There's very good words up here for especially youngsters.
Awesome.
Cool. We're going to end over here. So let's just continue on this way. So as you walk into the Jaqua Center, one of the other first things you're going to notice is there's names on the floor engraved. Those are academic All-Americans. And so there's also 3 different sizes of fonts. Let's start with everybody knows, or almost everybody knows, who Justin Herbert is. So that's a big font. That would be first team academic All-American.
Can you explain what academic All-American means?
Yes, so you have to have around a 3.4 and above and do that consistently year in and year out to win that award. So it's
that means they're getting really good grades.
Yeah. The other thing I should point out before we get too far along, the building accolade wise is not for athletics. It's all for academia. It's about community service in the books in here. It's not, there won't be most touchdowns, fastest runner. You won't see any of that. So keep that, all that stuff is across the football field where you can see trophies and things like that.
Awesome. So this is all about
academics.
Their schoolwork.
The other thing, not only the names on the floor, but these big letters that go across, and it's going to be hard to see on Zoom, but this thing, maybe we'll look at it when we go up top too. We can point it down, but that spells out academic All-American, and it runs from the beginning of the floor as you walk in to the end.
Cool.
So it's kind of an alphabet soup type deal.
Right.
Now, right behind us, this would be the front desk right here. So as kids come in, the athletes come in, they'll look up here, and right now you can't see it. It just says welcome to SSA. Usually that will have the athlete's name, the tutor's name, the room number, and the time they have to meet. So when the athletes come in, it's like an airport reader board. If you've ever been to an airport, you look up, see what time your flight is, if it's on time, same type of deal. So they'll come in, look at that, and that way there's no questions and I have to ask people.
So are athletes required to come here?
Yes.
And study?
Yeah. Freshmen, sophomores have to do 8 hours a week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and once their grades are 3 point and above, it becomes up to the coach or the individual, whether they want to use it.
Okay.
They have to.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
as long as they're above a 3 point.
That's a nice
after
support.
freshman year, yeah.
So does that help them too? Because they're traveling a lot, they might miss classes.
A lot of travel.
So this
One
helps
thing people
with
don't
that?
understand that I definitely didn't understand. I've been here 11 years, and I didn't get that they were on the road, at practice, eating dinners. Everything is by the book, by the number. So 2 o'clock, they've got to be somewhere. 4:30, they have to be somewhere. 8 o'clock, they got to be somewhere.
Right.
And it is constant.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I didn't realize about a D1 athletes. It's
Yeah.
extensive.
Right. Oh, totally.
Behind us is just what we call the Just Did It wall. This is a play on Nike's "Just Do It" ad slogan. These are all former athletes from Oregon. I know that you kids are young, so you're not going to know a lot of these people up here, but I can assure you most of them are very famous people. It has the year they graduated next to their name, and then a few sentences of what they did after the life of college. And this is kind of interesting. She was a health teacher at my high school here in town.
Oh, she's an Oregonian.
Yeah.
And you guys might know this one. Phil Knight. He's the Nike guy. That's a cool wall, you guys. It kind of looks like
you really should, if you get a chance, come and check this place out.
This is all stuff you can come and see yourself. Yeah, very good. And here's the name of it. Just did it. Very cool. Thank you.
Okay, now as we move along on this first floor, in the glass casings here, this is the highest accolade you can get as a D1 athlete in the country. So these people are 3.8 and above. A lot of them are 4 points. And you can see some of our recent ones. Galen Rupp is a
that is
a runner.
not showing up very well, you guys, with the lighting.
Yeah, some of that's going to be hard to see, I'm sure.
So Galen Rupp,
Bill Musgrave, John Mitchell, Sue Harbor from the 80s. Dennis Dixon was a quarterback here. And it goes on and on.
cool.
So that's like the highest accolade you can get as a D1 athlete as far as academics go.
Right.
Let's see, over here, this is 3 different awards, Emerald, Higgin, and Jackson Award. So both these walls have actually 3 different, you'll notice there's 3 different awards. There's one that looks like that, one here, and one here. And if we come over here, there's large renditions of these, the same ones, and it tells exactly what they're all about. And in the small gist of things, it's for grades and community service is what these awards are all about. Some of the names you'll recognize as youngsters. Let's see, Satu Sabali from women's basketball.
Satu.
Yeah. Let's see, Justin Herbert, Marcus, where's Marcus? Right here, Marcus Mariota. Sure we know who he is.
Mariota. Awesome. He's got a couple of them.
Yep. Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. There's a few
Those are
athletes up
cool.
there a couple times. Yeah.
So when you mention community service, can
Yeah.
you explain like what
Yeah,
are
so-
some examples of community
Sure.
service? that
So
these-
they might go to nursing homes, hospitals, different things around. They'll build fences for people. They'll just do different things around the community to they
Awesome.
want to get them going that direction.
Yeah.
Also, not just be
Excellent.
smart people, but to help the community.
Yeah.
As well. So
That's so
kind of a
cool.
combined thing.
Yeah.
Now, Amy and I went over this already, but this wall, I'm not sure how you're going to be able to see it, if you'll be able to see it at all. But it's 3 stories of black and white photos that makes up one huge image. And you can see the eyes and the head are on the 2nd floor.
You guys, that's Albert Einstein.
Yeah,
So cool.
yeah, that is Albert.
It's all made up of black and white photos.
Yeah.
So this is another thing that you really need to come here to see because this is very cool.
It really is.
And if you're not able to see the gist of it through this, it will definitely come through when you're here in
Yeah.
person.
And
Very
we're-
cool
We're going to look
concept.
at it one more time upstairs from that room straight across, and I think you may be able to see it better. So we'll
Okay.
do that as well.
Okay.
Now, right behind us, where we're standing, these are strictly the conference of the Pac-12 academic awards. And so it has all the women's and men's sports. And actually, the idea was that you're walking in the building and coming up this way on it, you can see what sport it is. So we've got football here,
There.
men's track, women's basketball, baseball, women's cross country, and on and on. So it has all the sports we carry.
Wow. Yeah. So
And
it's
then
so
it'll give the
cool.
name and the year they won the award as well. Yeah.
That's a great concept. What a creative idea.
Mhm.
It looks cool.
Yeah, it's something for them to come back later in life and show their kids and what they
Yeah.
accomplished.
Oh, yeah. And I love
Um,
the rainbow colors.
So the
Beautiful.
last thing on the first floor before we go into the auditorium is what we call our regional district award board. And this encompasses the Northwest. So we've got not University of Washington, we've got the state of Washington, Idaho, Oregon, And I think Montana was included in this, but I can't remember for sure. But the cool thing about this is if you get close enough, in person, we can see it really good. But look back there in the background and there's medals hanging from the, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see them.
The reflection is
It's
weird,
messing with us, but that's another reason you need to come down and see it. But there's medals hanging in the background.
That's cool. Wow, love it.
So now off to my favorite room. Was quarterback at Oregon. And so that was his number 3. And it gives a little bit of his story in there. As you can see. This is Harrington Auditorium that we're going to go into. Handprint. That was the size of his hand. You can see pretty big.
Yeah, big
I'm a little
hand.
guy, but he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah.
And then if you look over here, you'll see a lot of this around the building. That's not a squirrel, that's a beaver. So no beavers, no drink, and no food in here. And
No
this
beavers.
was an afterthought. We had people walking into the classrooms while class was going on. So this is actually like almost a binocular. And it says, look, our ducks are quacking the book. So it was to prevent people from just walking in.
Love it.
So as you come in
Cool.
here, let's start with the whiteboard. So this whole board right here is writable. It's what we call a whiteboard.
How would you guys like to come to school here?
I mean, I'm
Look at how
5'10",
big
you
that
can see
whiteboard is.
It's way up there.
Yeah.
2 projectors that they can do movies on this as well. So not only is it writable, but they can do movies and stuff on it as well.
Yeah.
And the seats are Ferrari leather. And you can see some of the seats are gone, and that's because of COVID. So we've had one class here so far. We had to spread the kids out. So they've got these that come out. So they can put their notepads or computers on these. And then if you look close, there's plugins actually on the chair.
Oh my God.
So they can plug in right into the chair. With their
Thought of
computers roll on.
everything.
So they tried to think of everything when they built this.
Right.
It's 11 years old now, so it's not
Has it
brand
been
new.
that long?
Yeah, it's
Wow.
not brand new, but it's still pretty state of the art.
That's
Those
cool.
are all distinguished professors up there. I always forget to
Okay.
include that, but that's what those are. And those won't change. They are what they are.
Yeah.
And you can see it has the year that they were inducted and then their name.
That's cool. What a great space to learn.
Yeah, being it's glass, it's got a lot of natural light. That was one of the big things about this, was a lot of natural light.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah, this
Moving
is
on.
great.
oh, we almost skipped over this. There's so many things in this building. This is a 3 long benches, or 4 long benches. And to get on these, you have to have a 3.2 or above. And then the athletes will sign their name and it goes to an engraver and then it's into the wood. So these are permanent. Writing. So you can see here, we're from there to, we're actually further because I haven't run up in Portland for a while. So we're probably about right here. This
Okay.
hasn't been done yet. So in 11 years, we're about here.
You're gonna have to add some more benches.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
Now, we won't take the elevator up just because it's so enclosed in there, but I want to show the kids some of the things in the elevator. First of all, it's a glass elevator. You don't see those every day.
Look at that. That's cool.
All those lights in the background.
Is that okay if
we
I
can-
walk in?
Yeah, you go ahead, yeah. We can change those lights to any color combination. So
But no
Memorial Day,
beavers.
they're gonna be red, white, and blue. Valentine's Day, they're all red. So they changed it up.
Uh-huh.
The fight song, the words to the fight song, the one that goes dun 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 dun, dun,
Yes.
those are
Sing
around
the
the red.
fight song while you're going up the
Yeah.
elevator.
And then the floor has a bunch of the funny slogans and stuff.
Yes. That's cool. I think just thought of a lot of different unique things here.
So going upstairs,
Okay.
I think we're ready to go.
So this is where, when you guys come to visit here, you can't go up here. This is for athletes
And
only.
we do watch it very carefully, so if you try to sneak up, you'll get caught. It's guaranteed. So you can see we put this authorized personnel only in another one of our anti-beaver.
No beaver.
Yeah. We're kind of hard on the beavers.
Right.
So as you come up to the second floor, this commemorates the 1949 Cotton Bowl staff, so it has all the coaches from that team. I won't go into history of that, it'll take a while, but
Cool.
that's what that is. Over here, this is the story of, you want to go through there so you can see a little better?
Thanks.
So this is the story of how we became to dislike the Huskies using mild language.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm dead serious. So the whole story is laid out here.
Vengeance is mine, saith the duck. There
So
you
that's another
go.
one of those we won't get into, but
That's great. Whole story about it.
Yeah.
I need to.
I didn't know that either. I grew up
Right.
here. I
Yeah.
had no idea. So back here, when things are normal, this is where the student athletes will, it's kind of their lounge. So usually there's couches right here. We have a TV here that can watch. These books are all aesthetic. So actually what we do is all the books for the term are locked upstairs in cabinets. These are all purely for looks, but we do have every book for the term locked up. And the reason we do that is the athlete comes in and says, I don't have my book.
I think you're like,
We got
I
one
got one for
or
you.
two, or even three.
Yeah.
So we try to cover all that. So
Oh,
there's no easy way out.
Right. Nice. Clever. I love this rug.
Isn't it nice? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very cool.
So let me show you what a tutor room looks like. Oh, and we'll get a good look at Einstein too, straight across.
Okay.
So let's see. See if the kids can see it better now. Look straight across.
Yeah.
So that was the Einstein
Here's the Einstein guys.
face that you can see a little better from up here.
Yeah.
Now, this is also a writable surface. So when the kids are in here with the tutor, they can write problems and stuff up here if they want.
With what kind of marker am I
They-
using from that?
Right here.
Oh, little
So it's
fluorescent
kind
ones.
of a felt type pen,
Uh-huh.
and it just wipes off. Better if you have a rag. But the TVs are in here. Each room has a TV, and that's not for them to watch TV when they come in. They can hook their computers up here and have it come out over the TV. And that way they're not leaning over each other. Oh, let me see your screen. blah, blah, blah.
Right,
Keeps them
okay.
separate and all that good stuff. So that was the idea behind that.
Yeah. Wow, these are great spaces to study. Nice lights.
Now, also, each individual room, tutor room, has an etching, and we're gonna get a little further away and look up at the etching so you can see them. But these represent Olympic sports. So this one looks like a bicycle, which obviously we don't have in Oregon, but it's an Olympic sport. So let's go out here to the second floor and look up to the third. They'll be able to see the etchings a little bit better. Yeah, this gives a
Well,
little
there you
better
go.
perspective.
Can you see those on there, you guys?
So see the etching, so up there's basketball, tennis on the left, baseball on the right.
What's the one in the middle right there?
That one, I believe,
Is that like,
it could be lacrosse.
oh, right, okay.
Some of them are tough to tell.
Uh-huh, and
That's
then
volleyball, I
volleyball,
think, yeah.
and then running.
But some of them are really hard to tell.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I like it.
So there's 35 total tutor rooms in this place. And from here, we can look back at the one we were just in. That's a little bigger room, and then there's a smaller room next to it. So that's the two different sizes of rooms that are in this place.
Okay. Wow, there's rooms all over. These are awesome. Cool. How fun.
So all along that wall, almost all those offices there are academic advisors.
Okay.
The advisors help the students get the classes they need to graduate on time. And so that's what they're all about, is they help them get exactly what they need as far as what classes
Yeah.
and get them in there.
So are they currently doing that, but just
All on Zoom.
all on Zoom?
It's all going
Okay.
on Zoom. That's why
Okay.
hardly anybody in here. Yeah.
Oh, man.
And so to do the tutoring, that's all on Zoom now also. But what we're doing, as far as I've got a few kids in here studying right now,
Mhm.
it's almost like a hotel reservation. They'll call us up
Okay.
and we'll put it in the books and we'll say, okay, you need room 205 from 3 to 5. And
Okay.
then we'll put them in there, and that way we can spread them out. keep
Yeah.
them every other room, and
Right.
doors have to be shut. Masks can go off once the door is shut. So
Yeah.
there's definitely some strict rules in place, for that,
Right. Okay.
which we're all familiar with now, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my boss just came in, so we're not gonna go over there, but why don't you peek in there? That's called the Frosh Hall.
Okay.
And you can look right through the glass there.
In this?
Yeah, and so all of our freshmen will spend a lot of time in there. And you can see there's lockable cabinets and things.
Yeah.
And so the idea was the freshmen can lock their stuff up in the cabinet and not have to tote it around campus and all that good stuff. So they can have
Got
a
it.
central place to keep it.
Right.
And it's all locked and secure. So
Yeah. Oh,
that's what that's
cool.
all about.
This is great. You guys, can you see the well, it's upside down now, but you can see the letters a little bit
Yeah,
better.
a
The
little bit of
academic
American.
on the floor.
So right here is what we call a bridge, basically what we're standing on. We call it a bridge because
Uh-huh.
it kind of goes right over the middle of that first floor.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, are you okay if I open it up for questions for you?
Yeah, we got another floor. Do you want to do that?
Oh yeah. Let's.
Are we okay on time?
Yes.
I know you got to read still too.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
There's not a lot up on the third.
Okay.
We've done a lot of, so let's head up.
Okay. We'll do the third floor and then we'll do
Yeah.
questions, Justin. And
Here more, but over here, so our athletes are checked out a laptop computer. And this is our IT area right here. So if something breaks down or they just don't know what's going on, they can't figure it out, we've got 2 people, full-time IT staff that
oh
can,
wow.
that can help. So that's, this whole area is for that.
Yeah. So all athletes get a computer.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
not given to them.
Right. Lent while they're here.
Well, they pay a $75 security deposit too.
Okay. Makes
It's
sense.
stolen.
Yeah.
Broken.
More
Let's see.
rooms.
Over here, this is the computer lab for the kids here. And that's actually a glass wall, I guess you would say.
Right.
And that's supposed to be the quiet side. So if you have something intense you're working on, don't want to be bothered,
Yeah.
you just go over there. No
Got
one
it.
gets in trouble if you talk, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
Just
Do you
leave
get many people
alone.
using a computer lab anymore these days?
Not as much.
Right. Yeah.
Not as
I wouldn't
much.
think so.
Yeah, after time, it's funny how time changes everything
Yeah.
in technology.
Yes. Hey,
So-
just while we're here, can I show the kids the
Oh, of
school?
course.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is the black and white Einstein close up. This is the pictures that it's made up of. You guys got to feel these one time when you come down here because they're pretty cool. Very nice concept.
Yeah, let's see, more of the same with the tutor rooms up here. Now, as we look back, that whole wall of offices there, excuse me, those are learning specialists. So if kids are having a rough time, the tutor's not cutting it, they're not getting what they need from the tutor, enough help, whatever it might be, they can go to a learning specialist, which is basically a school teacher. And they have one-on-ones with them.
Oh, cool.
So that's what that's all about. So over here, more of the same computer rooms. And you can see the skylight goes all the way across, so that's more of that natural light they wanted in here.
Uh-huh.
Now, these 3 rooms were really cool when we first moved in. You get used to it over time, but we'll skip the first one. It's just a small room, but I'm going to show you the bigger room here. So this is our math lab, what we call our math lab. So come on in here. Usually there's math books all over the place in here. Come on in. Okay, so you're wondering why I brought you in this stupid room. So if we bring the camera back here and turn around and look at this wall of glass, you can see that it's shaded, what we call shaded. Now, if I hit this button right here, we can unshade it instantaneously. Shaded in there.
Oh.
Is that showing up on camera? Unshaded, shaded. So it's
Yeah.
called privacy glass.
Uh-huh.
So that's
So
what
you
that
can
is.
see through
Yeah,
it
you can
right
imagine
now.
11 years ago, people fell down when I did that. They were like, what? It's like magic.
Right? Okay, do it one more time. I
Ready?
think they'll see it better. See, now you can't see through it. Yeah, oh, that's cool.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, a little privacy.
Yep. Yeah, this is our social lab, so same thing, just pretty much same size, a little smaller, I guess,
Yeah,
but it's the same idea as the other one.
I
Except
thought
we do
of-
social-
yeah.
social.
All the writing spaces are cool. How you just
Yeah, they
they can
just,
write on the
and
walls.
that's
and-
what's so strange, being
Yeah.
an older person, it's
Right.
like, wait a minute, we were taught not to write on the walls, now they can. Anyway, bathrooms here. So now we're gonna wind down. Actually, how much time do we have? Are we okay?
Yeah, we should probably wrap up here in a couple minutes.
Okay, let me show you the art room.
Okay.
And then we'll head down the side. There's another thing over
Okay.
here. So let's go to the art room real quick. So that's back here.
Down the hall.
You can see we've got our arrows in place so when people start coming back.
Uh-huh.
So here's the art room. And you can see that
Oh,
there's a
cool.
huge desk for them, an art desk, and we've got supplies that we give them to use and all that stuff. But it's a pretty nice little art room.
Yeah. That's cool.
Look close in the back too. From here, you can see how it says. See how it says Oregon with the drill? You see that?
Oh, I
You
do.
see that?
I don't know if you can see it. There's a lot of reflection going on
Can
here.
you go point it out?
Do you see it?
And then Nike's famous for their first shoe was made from a waffle iron. And so that's up here as well. So it's like all these symbols kind of have a meaning. So there's the waffle iron. If you look up here, this spells out with a drill and paperclip and stuff, says Oregon.
Oregon, there it is. This is cool.
Yeah, it's
How
just fun.
creative.
Nike likes to do stuff like that where they'll put stuff that looks like it's one thing and it's not.
So you said that first Nike shoe was made out of a waffle iron?
Yeah, they used a waffle iron for the soles. So that's what that is showing. That's kind of what it was like, is they used that for the sole.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That is clever.
And
Wow,
if you
what
had
a
a pair
great
of
shoe.
shoes, if you had a pair of those shoes right now, I don't even know what they'd be worth. But I'm
I know.
telling you, they're way up.
Right.
Okay, so this is the third floor. We're gonna wind it back around, go down a side staircase, and there's 3 stories of very bright yellow wallpaper. And what that is every athlete up on that board or wall has graduated from the University of Oregon with a degree in hand. So people that went to the pros early or dropped out aren't going to be up here. And so that what's kind of makes this really special.
Great.
Is
Okay.
you have to complete the task completely. How we really get your name up here. And this goes back to 1945. So way before I was born.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
alphabetical. And since the names get cut off on corners, they'll repeat themselves a couple different times throughout the whole
Crazy.
3 floors. And then as we take this down, it will just put us pretty much where we started the tour.
Okay. So you guys can see next
You
to
can
their
also-
name.
The tag next to it is the sport they did.
Yeah,
the
that's
little logo.
sport. So does the sport come before their name or after?
Yeah, I believe it was before.
Okay. Basketball, there's swimming and soccer. That's a great
It's funny,
concept.
in the old days, we had rowing, and different stuff we don't have today.
Neat.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, we just had to change sports.
So I'll get a lot of athletes that are up here to come back to see this stuff, and they'll take pictures of their name
I
on their
bet,
phones, and
yeah.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Justin, you want to open it up for some questions?
All right, let's go with Hannah. Hannah, do you have a question?
What year did the place get built?
It was built 11 years ago. So 2008, I believe. Is that right? 2009? 2009, I think.
2009.
Somewhere in there. But it's 11 years old now.
It still looks pretty new, huh?
Oh, let's show them the bathroom when the questions are coming in.
All
Need
right.
to go in the bathroom.
Why don't you go on the women's side over there?
Okay.
And that pattern that you see on the wall, that's Don Essig's voice pattern when he says it never rains in Autzen Stadium.
Are you
I'm
serious?
serious, yeah. So like on an earthquake seismic ground, that's what
Right.
it is.
It's the bathroom, you guys.
All right, let's go with Cassie, I think.
How you doing?
Are we at
Where did it all go?
the Oregon Stadium?
No, we are at the John Jaqua Student Academic Center.
Is there any more room to put any others people's students' names to add to that staircase paper name thing?
Good question. Very good question. The wallpaper is supposed to change. It hasn't yet, but I think it was supposed to be every 5 or 7 years, it's supposed to change. And so we're way behind, but we are eventually going to add all those athletes since we opened that aren't up there. And what's going to happen is the font's going to have to get smaller.
Right.
Because we'll be out of space up there, right? So they'll
Yeah.
decrease the font size to get all the rest of them in there. Good question.
How much feet is this place? Like, how big is it? Like,
40,000 square feet. Another good question.
whoa, that's
Yeah, it's big. It's big, yeah.
All right. Let's go Faye. Wait. I'm having technical difficulties.
Way of the world now.
All right.
Archer. Let's go with Archer A.
What's your question? You're already unmuted.
You're good to go, Archer. All right, we'll try somebody else. Cameron.
I forgot.
Oh, happens to the best of us.
No.
All right, we'll go with Keaton. Keaton, do you have a question? Okay, Marley, do you have a question, Marley?
I was going to say, why did you make all the names on all walls?
Well, it's really for them to see when they're not only still going here, because some of the athletes on the floor are or were still here when they were in the floor. So not only is it for them to like, but also for their parents and for their family to see. And so it'll be here forever. This is until this building's gone, these will be here forever. So it's really just a testimony to them and how hard they work for their academics, really.
How far is that place?
It's right at the beginning of campus. If you know where the entrance to campus is, it's right off Franklin Boulevard.
Yeah, so if you know like where Matthew Knight Arena is,
Much better, yeah.
it's really close to Matthew Knight Arena where the Ducks play basketball. Yeah, so if you can find that, yeah, you'll find this, and you can come in here one day when we're done with COVID and get some food. Yeah, explore it for yourself.
My mom is on that wall.
Your mom's
Which one?
on the wall.
Whoa, do tell. What's your mom's name?
Kelly Planch.
What sport did she play?
Softball.
Softball.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Pretty
Well,
neat.
thank you so much, Mr.
You're doing
Tony.
great.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So we will go ahead and read our story. Thank you so much.
Yes.
That was
See you, kids.
awesome.
Here, come down when you can.
This is our story. It's called Wilma Unlimited, how Wilma Rudolph became the world's fastest woman. Okay, so this is called Wilma Unlimited, how Wilma Rudolph became the world's fastest woman by Kathleen Kroll, and it's illustrated by David Diaz. And this is a story that takes place in a time when our nation was still segregated. So Black people were separated from white people, and it was a really hard time for a lot of people in our nation. And Wilma was born really disadvantaged. She was born in a time where it was really hard to medically for people to save people if they were little tiny people, and she was born really small. And she overcame a lot. So her story is really amazing. It's a little bit longer, so cuddle up, enjoy the book. It's a really powerful story. So let's get into this. Wilma Unlimited. No one expected such a tiny girl to have a first birthday in Clarksville, Tennessee in 1940. Life for a baby who weighed just over 4 pounds at birth was sure to be limited. But most babies didn't have 19 older brothers and sisters to watch over them. Most babies didn't have a mother who knew home remedies and a father who worked several jobs. Most babies weren't Wilma Rudolph. Wilma did celebrate her first birthday, and everyone noticed that as soon as this girl could walk, she ran or jumped instead. She worried people though. She was always so small and sickly. If a brother or a sister had a cold, she got double pneumonia. If one of them had measles, Wilma got measles too, plus mumps and the chicken pox. Her mother always nursed her at home. Doctors were a luxury for the Rudolph family. And anyway, only one doctor in Clarksville would treat Black people. Another example of that segregation that was still in existence. I'm going to scoot you closer so you can see these pictures a little bit better. Just before Wilma turned 5, she got sicker than ever. Her sisters and brother heaped all the family blankets on her, trying to keep her warm. During that sickness, Wilma's left leg twisted inward and she couldn't move it back. Not even Wilma's mother knew what was wrong. Her doctor came to see her then. Besides scarlet fever, he said, Wilma had also been stricken with polio. In those days, most children who got polio either died or were permanently crippled. There was no cure. The news spread around Clarksville. Wilma, that lively little girl, would never walk again. But Wilma kept going any way she could. By hopping on one foot, she could get herself around the house to the outhouse in the backyard, and even on Sundays to church. Wilma's mother urged her on. Mrs. Rudolph had plenty to do: cooking, cleaning, sewing patterned flour sacks into clothes for her children, now 22 in all. Yet twice every week, she and Wilma took the bus to the nearest hospital that would treat Black patients some 50 miles away in Nashville. They rode together in the back, the only place Blacks were allowed to sit. Doctors and nurses at the hospital helped Wilma do exercises to make her paralyzed leg stronger. At home, Wilma practiced them constantly, even when it hurt. To Wilma, what hurt most was that the local school wouldn't let her attend because she couldn't walk. Tearful and lonely, she watched her brothers and sisters run off to school each day, leaving her behind. Finally, tired of crying all the time, she decided she had to fight back somehow. Wilma worked so hard at her exercises that the doctors decided that she was ready for a heavy steel brace. With the brace supporting her leg, she didn't have to hop anymore. School was possible at last. But it wasn't the happy place she had imagined. Her classmates made fun of her brace. During playground games, she could only sit on the sidelines, twitchy with impatience. She studied the other kids for hours, memorizing moves, watching the ball zoom through the rim of the bushel basket they used as a hoop. Wilma fought the sadness by doing more leg exercises. Her family always cheered her on, and Wilma did everything she could to keep them from worrying about her. At times, her leg really did seem to be getting stronger. Other times, it just hurt. One Sunday, on her way to church, Wilma felt especially good. She and her family had always found strength in their faith, and church was Wilma's favorite place in the world. Everyone she knew would be there, talking and laughing, praying and singing. She hung back while people filled the old building. Standing alone, the sound of hymns coloring the air, that she unbuckled her heavy brace and set it by the church's front door. Taking a deep breath, she moved one foot in front of the other, her knees trembling violently. She took her mind off her knees by concentrating on taking another breath and then another. It's just the picture page. There she is walking up. Whispers rippled throughout the gathering. Wilma Rudolph was walking, row by row, heads turned toward her as she walked alone down the aisle. Her large family, all her family's friends, everyone from school, each person stared wide-eyed. The singing never stopped. It seemed to burst right through the walls and into the trees. Finally, Wilma reached a seat in the front and began singing too, her smile triumphant. Wilma practiced walking as often as she could after that, and when she was 12 years old, she was able to take off her brace for good. She and her mother realized she could get along without it. So one memorable day, they wrapped the hated brace in a box and mailed it back to the hospital. As soon as Wilma sent that box away, she knew her life was beginning all over again. After years of sitting on the sidelines, Wilma couldn't wait to throw herself into basketball, the game she had most liked to watch. She was skinny, but no longer tiny. Her long legs would propel her across the court and through the air, and she knew all the rules and all the moves. In high school, she led her basketball team to one victory after another. Eventually, she took the team all the way to the Tennessee State Championships. There, to everyone's astonishment, her team lost. Wilma had become accustomed to winning. Now she slumped on the bench, all the liveliness knocked out of her. But at the game day, that day was a college coach. He admired Wilma's basketball playing, but was especially impressed by the way she ran. He wanted her for his track and field team. With his help, Wilma won a full athletic scholarship to Tennessee State University. She was the first member of her family to go to college. 8 years after she mailed her brace away, Wilma's long legs and years of hard work carried her thousands of miles from Clarksville, Tennessee. The summer of 1960, she arrived in Rome, Italy to represent the United States at the Olympic Games as a runner. Just participating in the Olympics was deeply personal victory for Wilma, but her chances of winning a race were limited. Simply walking in Rome's shimmering heat was a chore, and athletes from other countries had run faster races than Wilma ever had. Women weren't thought to run very well anyway. Track and field was considered a sport for men. And the pressure from the public was intense. For the first time ever, the Olympics would be shown on television, and all the athletes knew that more than 100 million people would be watching. Worst of all, Wilma had twisted her ankle just after she arrived in Rome. It was still as swollen and painful on the day of her first race. Yet once it was her turn to compete, Wilma forgot her ankle and everything else. She lunged forward, not thinking about her fear, her pain, or the sweat flying off her face. She ran better than she ever had before, and she ran better than anyone else. Grabbing the attention of the whole world, Wilma Rudolph of the United States won the 100-meter dash. No one else ever came close. An Olympic gold medal was hers to take home. So when it was time for the 200-meter dash, Wilma's graceful long legs were already famous. Her ears buzzed with the sound of the crowd chanting her name. Such support helped her ignore the rain that was beginning to fall. At the crack of the starting gun, she surged into the humid air like a tornado. When she crossed the finish line, she had done it again. She finished far ahead of everyone else. She had earned her second gold medal. Wet and breathless, Wilma was exhilarated by the double triumph. The crowd went wild. The 400-meter race was yet to come. Wilma's team faced the toughest competition of all. And as the fourth and final runner on her team, it was Wilma who had to cross the finish line. Wilma's teammates ran well, passed the baton smoothly, and kept the team at first place. Wilma readied herself for the dash to the finish line as her third teammate ran toward her. She raced back from the baton and nearly dropped it. As she tried to recover from the fumble, two other runners sped past her. Wilma and her team were suddenly in third place. Ever since the day she had walked down the aisle at church, Wilma had known the power of concentration. Now, legs pumping, she put her mind to work. In a final electrifying burst of speed, she pulled ahead by a fraction of a second. She was the first to blast across the finish line. The thundering cheers matched the thundering of her own heart. She had made history. She had won for an astonishing third time. At the third ceremony that week, as the band played the Star-Spangled Banner, Wilma stood and still, like a queen, the last of her 3 Olympic gold medals hanging around her neck. Wilma Rudolph, once known as the sickliest child in Clarksville, had become the fastest woman in the world. At the end of the book, you can read more about Wilma and all her accomplishments from the author's note. That was Wilma Unlimited. I'm pretty sure I called her William as much as I called her Wilma. I'm sorry. What an awesome story. It's a true story about a woman who overcame so much. I love that. And she's a Black woman. And since this month is Black History Month, I really wanted to share that book with you. Thank you so much for joining me today. What a cool facility. And I'm excited that you guys can come down here once this is open after COVID. There will be an after COVID, my friends. Hang in there. Thank you so much. And join me next week. We get to go to the dump. How exciting is that? Let's go see some garbage together. Thank you so much. And I will see you next week.